that programs the cinemas, oversees the curation of our digital platform, Curzon Home Cinema. So effectively, we pick the movies and organise and curate the events that run across the programmes, both in our physical venues and also online. The front line, if you like, of the theatrical experience, we run the venues that showcase films that distributors either produce or bring to the UK. And it's in our venues that people can come along, have a drink, meet people, enjoy the social and sort of emotional experience of watching films. We buy our movies or rent our movies from distribution companies. That's from small independents or perhaps even producers who make films available to us, all the way up to the big Hollywood studios. We do deals with them and we put our schedules together, advertise the films and so on. We select the films which we feel are more appropriate for Curzon audiences or for the individual personality or audiences of our individual sites. Each site has its own character. And from that schedule, we negotiate terms with the distributor on a film-by-film basis, usually, and each film gets its start in the cinema on a pre-agreed schedule, and then the length of its run is determined by how popular and how successful it's been. Well, I suppose the two main reasons that exhibitions change through the new digital landscape, one would be listings and the way that we communicate to our customers. So when I started programming in the early 2000s, we had printed brochures that had timetables. We communicated mainly through leaflets, and then of course, now we're much more online. We're on Twitter. We're communicating directly to our customers in a much more immediate and regular fashion, and that's actually changed the way that my team would program. We may, in the past, we may have actually tried to schedule as far in advance so that we can communicate as early as possible to our customers when the films are going to take place, whereas now we can be very immediate and on a weekly basis we can publish a brand new schedule. And that actually changes our relationship with the films. The second main change is in the actual technology of projection. And how, I personally started off as a 35mm projectionist, and operating heavy machinery, switching between projectors halfway through the movie, and that was a sort of laborious, expensive process. Now we have digital projectors where the films arrive either by a satellite link or in a small hard drive. It makes us much more flexible. I think the analytics that are available now does help us much more than in the old days, which was very much about gut feeling. But we look at figures all the time, and what I particularly love about programming is that it's a combination of sort of the heart and the head. We have our own blog, which is not open to the public, but we have influencers within the company that will write on the blog. I think that's very important to us in terms of our brand or the trust that we build up with our audience, that we are passionate about film. We also produce a magazine, and I use the word magazine carefully because it's more than a brochure. It has editorial. We have a journalist who edits that magazine, and that expresses to our audience, if you like, more opinion-based way to actually promote and list movies. We interact on Twitter, so we will retweet influencers who are making comments about our movies or perhaps are publishing their own articles about the films, because we are also a distributor and an exhibitor. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm sort of communicating by email with customers who are now able to reach us far more easily than they were in the past, and talking to them about the programme, what's coming up, and answering their queries, complaints and suggestions. I think that being in touch with influencers and keeping an open mind about that future interaction is vital to our business. We all know, even currently, that big marketing, big mainstream media is still the key driver, particularly in the mainstream cinema world, to getting people into the cinemas. But Independent film has to survive at a different level, and in order to develop that connectivity on small budgets, you have to be smarter, you have to work with social media, and it's something that, you know, people are talking about how that might change programming in the future, in the same way I've said that digital has changed the way we're programming now. It might be, for instance, in the future that we're actually programming through direct responses from both the audience and from influencers. We may know, if you like, people-powered programming, perhaps. Who knows? But I think you have to continue to evolve and develop and look at new audiences, look at ways of communicating to people. Otherwise, you know, you'll get overtaken. I think any tips I would give to a young influencer looking to develop a career in film is to be passionate, to make sure you're communicating that passion. You know, you have to be visible. You have to be online. You have to be, you know, if you're a blogger, if you're strong on Twitter, you need to utilize those relationships. Network is very important, both behind the scenes and in front of them. So really, only the most passionate and the most dedicated people are able to do it. And so I would say, you know, make sure you wear your dedication and your passion on your sleeve.